Potentially in the second round robin, that could be exciting. Otherwise, you know, the week is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I'm looking at DK. Big opportunity for them here. They need to get a 4-0 here, ideally, if they want to really solidify that grasp on the playoff spot. Showmaker not making playoffs, that would be very tragic.
Yeah, that
first time
kind of wouldn't make sense, yeah. Like you say, Wolf. So there was one person in our predictions that did attempt to make up for his loss. He doubled down after last week, and he said, you know what, this time D+ are going to lose to FearX. Is there any credibility to that?
Sure, could happen.
It could happen.
I think the teams are pretty close in power level.
There he is.
Yeah, this time we see him. There he is.
Unbelievable.
Look at Atlas too. He's like, no, it's not going to happen.
No. I've seen Atlas make that face at me. That's not a good face.
I'm also kind of shocked that unanimously we all voted for KT over Hanwha in that second series today. I think that one definitely not as safe as that unanimous prediction row shows.
They're definitely pretty good, though, KT, so expecting a lot of good
No
things
way
out
that
of them
backfires.
this week. Yeah, certainly pretty ecstatic for them this week around. But, guys, we are done here on the pre-show. Thank you so much for watching. Let's get into the opening and bring you Week 5 of the LCK.
With iron in my heart and steel inside my blood. Fear is afraid of the dark side of me. I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna break. No. I'm a fighter, survivor. 화이팅! 지우, 든든, 용신 레드코스 화이팅! 용신 레드코스 화이팅!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Spring 2024. I am Max Atlas Anderson, joined by Daniel Orcs Harrison, here to jump into our first match. Nongshim taking on T1. Theoretically, a bit of an uphill battle here for the Noodle Boys, but I don't think that this is a team that is going to take that to heart, right?
Yep.
They're just going to play their game, right, Orcs?
Exactly, and we've seen previous times that we've kind of had like little bits of just a game here and there when we've had Nongshim going up against T1, like a game being dropped. So, you know, potentially you get something interesting, especially when it is a new patch. That's what
Exactly. That's actually true, and we've got a lot of changes. I think the space did a great job trying to address all of them. They all, like, I really wish we had had comms on, by the way, because I was shaking my head at the amount of KT predictions, not at your very, I guess, aggressive FearX pick over D+.
A bit bold.
Yeah, let's have a look. First match of patch 14.3. Exactly right. Azir was nerfed on this patch, so we'll probably get him every game.
Oh,
I would assume.
See the nerf? Do you see the numbers?
Yeah, I did.
The base health regeneration? He lost 2, man.
Not only that,
Unbelievable.
but for some reason Talia was buffed.
Yeah,
So maybe that makes it worse to play the champion. We're not entirely sure. Of course, Call Me does very much like playing that. But it's a bit of an auspicious day. We were celebrating a lot of things to do with Faker earlier on in the season. I believe it was 600 wins and all sorts of ridiculous things. We've got his 900th game coming up today.
Yep, quite a lot.
What was it? It was 3,000 kills as well. Absolutely absurd. Anyway, both bottom lanes with a wide champion pool. Yeah, this is sort of the two chefs down there. Jiwoo, of course, known for his Neela, and he's more of a chef when it comes to building items. I think he built 3 different mythics last year before settling on anything, on Neela specifically. And Carrier plays Nico. He's not going to play her this week because she's disabled, but he plays Nico.
Smolder support?
He plays Scion.
Will that come out? What do you reckon?
Which one?
Smolder support?
Smolder. Well, actually, we were talking about this during the Challenger broadcast over the last couple of days, and people were asking, well, is Kerry going to play? I don't think so, because Gumyushi is obsessed with the champion
But
at
I
the
didn't
moment.
think he'd play Ezreal either, so...
Hey, that's true.
You know.
And maybe he shouldn't have. I don't know. I didn't think it was all that great.
The Horizon focus Ezreal, you land a Q, you get vision, or it's...
I mean, to be perfectly honest, it is pretty good support work, isn't it? But here we are, another historic milestone. The living legend Faker reaches 900 games today. He's at 898, so no matter what happens in this series, we will be getting the 900th game. What is he going to play? Does he extend that unique champion pool to, like, what? Is it 75 or something like that he'd be getting to?
Smolder mid?
Smolder mid? I mean,
bringing it up.
Is Smolder actually a champion that should be played in the bottom lane, Orcs? Like, what's your opinion? That's the only place we saw it in Challenger, but we've seen lots of people playing it all over the map.
Yeah, I feel like it's still a contentious subject. I've seen people saying that they prefer it in the mid lane.
Yep.
Like, you know...
Sort of like Corki,
Kind of
right?
like Corki. You have an opportunity to scale, you eventually hit this point where you're just unstoppable. But, I don't know. It's a bit here or there. I'm
Wow,
not
that
sure.
Dundun, by the way, is a very accurate-looking Dundun. I don't know what's happening. His mouth was very strange. But let's have a look at the endless legacy of Faker here. 120 Azir games. That number might go up. 48 games on both Ryze and Orianna. Actually kind of crazy that he has this many Azir games. It's so many. Because Ryze, of course, iconic for Faker, as well as the Orianna.
Look how much gold in. That's a lot of items.
Wow, yeah. That's a lot of damage to champions that he's done as well.
Yep. Yep. Well, actually, one of the things is that 15 million damage was actually 3 Corki rockets.
Ah,
So
got it,
it's
got
kind
it.
of, you know, you might
Yeah. We should actually separate the Corki damage from the rest of the damage.
Yeah.
All right, let's welcome T1 to LoL Park. They will have side selection starting off this one. Of course, this is their final match of round 1. And we'll see whether they can finish it off with only 1 loss in the very first week in their first game. That was the last time that they did any losing in a series. And they could just continue that momentum moving forward into the second round robin. And they're going to need to because they're facing off against a pretty improved KT. If last week was anything to go by, which of course it's KT, so it probably isn't. We'll see what happens after this series in their first one. But the Telecom War is sort of shaping up to be an interesting one. And we'll see what it is going to deliver to us as the Noodle Boys just desperately fighting to get out of the West, to get out of the East, sorry, to see whether they can make it towards the playoffs. It is not that, like, no dreams are dead yet. Even Bro, if they just win every single match from now on, like back-to-back Kwangdong victories, right?
Yep.
And then just use that momentum to propel them into...
It's that easy.
Into the playoffs,
Yep.
into winning worlds. Who knows?
Forwards. That's the plan, you know? I mean, I feel like Nongshim, they've always been willing to bring out some more interesting things. What a new patch. It's still a big upsell to try and suggest them beating T1, but they are a team who will still bring it, you know? I feel like they're a team who you'll get the same from them. No matter their opponent, they'll just bring the same vibe.
And Dundun was like back-to-back solo killing his opposition in their last match. So who knows what could happen as these stats are looking a little bit in Gumyushi's favor. Look at those duo kills, man. That is an absurd number.
That is a lot. I also find it hilarious how damage percentage, damage per gold, and kill participation Guma is so low because his teammates
keep killing everyone.
Yeah, and because he ends up getting a ton of gold, so yeah, his damage per gold struggles a little bit. That's why Gotta take these stats with a pinch of salt.
Yep. I don't think that he should be too worried about these statistics. That's another reason why you should probably definitely keep an open mind when looking at these stats pages. Same thing can be said to a team that's been doing a heck of a lot of losing. Their stats are just going to look not good.
Yeah,
that's sort of how it goes. So Jiwoo's obviously suffering there as well. But it's also been pretty clear in the gameplay that Jiwoo hasn't really found his stride so far this season. I think that we were pretty hyped up about him moving into this year, but he hasn't really reached the same highs that he had when he was playing the Kneeler and finding these angles.
Yeah, I also think bot meta has been a bit of an awkward one. You know,
yeah, true.
80 carries have been struggling a decent amount. You know, we've seen the Lucian, which has looked really awful in the most recent match. And then it just kind of feels like, you know, there's Varus, which is good, but often banned. A lot of bans targeted towards the bot lane. Kallista's really strong, but pretty much always banned. It's just, I feel like it's difficult to find a consistent pick that works for a team because things are just getting played off or struggling. And we do have, you know, new picks expected to see coming up with the potentially the Smolder, and the TF is obviously something he's played. So hopefully he finds something he feels comfortable on.
Yeah, no, I would agree. It's Keria going for a bit of a reboot here. Didn't see Faker with his patented shutdown and restart. But we may have just missed it. You know, sometimes the camera guys miss the restart, although not very often. We often do manage to get it. As you can see some more solemn faces on the side of Nongshim. Oftentimes they're relatively high spirits, but feeling a little bit of the pressure, you could say. Interim head coach Chelly here, back with us once again. Of course, was here last time as well, as Irene did leave Nongshim. But now, less shell-shocked, you could imagine. So we'll see whether they've got themselves back into gear as they look towards taking on T1. Jumping straight into the draft here. T1 will be on our blue side to start us off. And Cassante will be banned away from Dundun. An honest matchup towards the top side of the map. Isn't that pretty?
Yeah, I'm very grateful. I love how 14.3, has anything changed, Cassante? Nope. Still incredibly strong. Honestly, I feel like from what we've seen of challenges and other regions, draft priorities haven't changed massively on the new patch.
Which is a bit of a shame, because I'd like people to stop picking Lucian. Smolder banned? What?
T1 have just said no fun allowed.
Wow, so it's not only the stats for Gumayushi, but also he's not allowed to play fun champions?
But it's like also denying Jiwoo, who obviously brought out the ADTF, and then also I feel like would be the sort of player who I could see bringing out the Smolder, and they just said no.
Well, let's find another champion that starts with A. That's Ariana.
Ariana, yeah. Ariana.
What a grand ban that they. Oh god.
But they left.
We've started strong.
Senna open, potentially problematic.
Oh, but Lucian Melio is up and available. Orcs.
Please.
Lucian Melio is up and ready to be picked.
Just pick Varus. Varus is open.
Yeah, I think
Varus.
it sounds like a good one.
Maybe like Varus Nord if you want to deny the Nord away would make a lot of sense. But really, just not Lucian.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Yeah, you know, we can sort of rest easy on that one because had a bit too much of that last week of playing the Lucian Melio into Senna Nord and just losing repeatedly.
It was not a fun time. I'd actually recommend locking in the Varus as well, just so that T1 can't do any funny business where they actually just take it as, all right.
That's not a Varus.
It's not a Varus, but, you know, ult cooldown and some base AD, and that means Zeri is the best champion in the game once again. And this is her original lane partner, the very first one that we saw alongside Zeri when she debuted.
Shiv also being cheap helps a lot. It makes me wonder what T1 are going to bring out to pair up into this.
Lee Sin, obviously.
Lee Sin bot lane would be very fun, but this is probably going to own a...
Keria hasn't had his Lee Sin game yet.
Oh, true, yeah. Maybe this is the moment.
Ooh. It's the Hui coming out. So this could be going to Faker. Of course, it has been very popular.
I feel like every pick, but it's like, well, this could be Keria.
Yeah.
It probably, you know, we don't know. It probably not, but it could be.
We're not going to say where anything is going until it's the very end. Unless, like, if Aatrox was able to be locked in, I think that's definitely going to Zeus, but that's, like, the only thing.
You know, that's what they want us to think.
Yeah, well, true.
Yeah, the Hui in Senna already means you have such a long-range composition into the side of Nongshim, and obviously Zeri pretty short range in comparison.
Ooh, like this.
See the Tzlia come out. Again, it did get those buffs, but in terms of range, you're really going to struggle to reach this Hui and Senna. So for the next rotation of picks, Nongshim really need a jungle that's going to help them close the distance. Lee Sin in a pinch can kind of kick people away and create space.
So I said that I like the Taliyah. I like it because I think it's very strong on this patch.
Yeah.
But that was, in my mind, I thought the carrier was playing both Lee Sin and Hui at the same time.
He could.
And the Hui is likely to be in the mid lane, which is not exactly the most fun for the Taliyah. You can't really abuse any dashes when Hui's just sort of wandering around painting things.
I feel like that game from Bulldog kind of started to show us the potential of Hui, especially when it came through. I think the champion is actually pretty obnoxious once you get to a certain point. You're just able to spam abilities at such a range, such a rate, very difficult to deal with. And ban's starting to come through. Viego targeted, which, you know, honestly, I don't really feel like that is a pick that Nongshim necessarily need to run out their composition, but could just be about the matchup into the Lee Sin that they're more concerned about. And Rumble, which did get nerfed on 14-2, and we saw the nerfs definitely lower the prio, but not make that much of a difference overall.
Yeah, so Tahm Kench going to be banned away here. Always dangerous to throw bans towards carrier, because of course he could already be playing all three of these champions, and it's hard to know. A lot of flexibility. But still, we just wanted to get rid of two of the most popular center bottom lanes, which is the Tahm Kench and the Nautilus. Pick one away, ban the other, and that should be able to work out. The Maokai is still up and available unless Sylvie decides to lock it in here, and that would be the top 3 center lanes taken away, right? It's going to be the Sejuani instead, and so a tree is still possible, and so is an Ornn.
Yeah.
Imagine if it was Ornn and Maokai locked in, and then Carrier could play actually all 4 of the champions.
Yeah, you could just anything, literally anything. We'll see what they have to go for. Obviously, center Ornn, something we've seen be a really strong scaling lane, but still does have a lot of. You still have the pressure of the center. We obviously saw them demolish it when it was Bro who actually picked that lane, but really Zeri not going to have too much pressure. Not going to come out for Zeus in this situation.
And that is Carrier just locking in the Ornn. And I have a feeling that that's what he's going to be playing. Does give us an idea of what this Tier 1 composition looks like, which is Hui in the mid lane, Owners Lee Sin. Not going to have that stolen away by his support this time around, as no surprises that Dundun is heading towards the Jax. We saw its prevalence really skyrocket in Challenger this week as well. And so Dundun, of course, very happy to be on his Jax. We'll be locking that one in, but not exactly the easiest matchup, especially into Zeus' Gnar. Of course, the champion that he debuted on. He's played extraordinarily well his entire career. This is going to be a roughie, I could imagine, unless Dundun manages to get the upper hand.
Well, I think a big thing is the backup from the Sejuani. You know, if you can jump on top of the mini Gnar and quickly stack up the passive, you can definitely punish in that 2v2. But, you know, I feel like Nongshim have some decent engage options, but their composition really needs to close the distance. If you end up having T1 set up in position, they're going to have so much poke, so much range, a lot of disruption between like the Gnar, the Lee, and the Ornn. And if you don't close the gap, you're just going to lose every setup. So
yeah,
definitely important that they find angles in team fights to get on top of this backline. And also goes without saying that an early lead would do a lot of favors.
If this composition does play extraordinarily fast and loose and finds these engages, though, they do have a whole lot of tools in playing forward, right?
Yeah.
Going after things like a Nautilus or a Sejuani, both of them with non-committal engage options, and then the follow-up with the Jax, and then Zeri to clean everything up. I think that there is a possibility, compositionally, for them to take this, whereas T1, they have, I mean, just so much longevity and range, and if they can keep Nongshim at arm's length, then they're just going to all die. It's going to be really, really rough. Let's jump into the Rift here for game number 1.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for the very first game of this week and the final matches of round 1. We will really have an idea as to where all of our teams stand. Currently, T1 7-1 versus Nongshim at 2-6. So you don't need to be a genius to work out who the favorites are for this particular match.
It's T1, isn't it?
I think it is T1, yeah. Well done, Orc. Wow, he's getting better.
Took me a moment, but I got there in the end.
Sylvie going to get hit by the first ability. Faker really getting his eye in to start this one off, as Carrier going to get pushed out of his jungle just a little bit here. going to smack the ward a little.
We are seeing the double Doran start for T1's bot lane, and the even more broken thing is that Ornn can just build the support item.
Oh,
when he
true. Just wanders back a little bit and makes a book.
chooses. Yep.
Pretty cool. Oh, Faker going to see what... Oh, does manage to hit that one. Call me. Going to be able to make use of the slight buffs here of the Taliyah. As this is Faker's 76th unique pick in the LCK. And so I guess my memory is all right. I believe that was the number that I went for.
Yeah, you did. You said 75. I thought you'd seen the graphic because we had the graphic earlier.
No. Just seem to remember there was a unique pick at Worlds last year and it was something around 75.
Spot on.
I think I was mainly lucky. But that's all right.
That's all you need to be. And, you know, I feel like Quay, because you can obviously use those rotations abilities, has a lot of power in the lane if he's kind of unchecked, but definitely can have issue if champs can get on top of him. I feel like really, though, you're looking to scale up in this pick. Once you get to, like, the later points of the game, 3-4 items.
Yeah.
Monstrous champ. We all remember that, like, 15-minute game where it was just Quandong Freaks in the mid lane, not moving, trying to get the mid tower, and the siege impact was really powerful.
Whoa, Gumiushi already down extraordinarily low. Still going aggressive onto Peter, though, understanding that he does have that range advantage. 7 wins in a row here for the center.
You want to show it, you know?
Just saying, no, he's okay. Believe me, like this champion doesn't lose.
Yeah, it's only wins. Yes, you had to ban Flash and nearly died, but look at the stats.
Yeah. Stats don't lie, Orcs. They never have.
People lie.
But we haven't had very much Zeri. As Faker is just killing Colmy, gets his flash in
that
the
would have
1v1.
just been a kill if he hadn't flashed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so buffs to Taliyah, not looking like they're being enough to help out in this lane matchup. Faker, I feel like a big thing is that we obviously saw him at Worlds being a really strong lane presence. I feel like for the past, you know, while before that, Faker was definitely an asset to his team, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't really down to like his laning presence. But I feel like since the most recent Worlds, his laning has just been on fire.
Oh, it's been absolutely ridiculous, yeah. And it's continuing to do so, as both mid lane is going to be teleporting back, and Call Me Now without his flash. Ona getting a bit frustrating here, as Sylvie is the one to lock down the Rift Scuttler. Nailed it. Dundun with some control of the wave up here, as you can see. Pushing it into Zeus, who's going to have a decently stacked wave heading towards that turret. We'll see whether that means anything for a bit of a trip up there for Ona.
Yeah, went to 12 HP, the Scuttle there, I believe, so close, but not quite able to get it. And you can see Nongshim are set on the map, so it looks like Ona might want to look towards that boss side Scuttle. Maybe concerned about being contested on it.
Faker is just pressing Q a bunch of times at Call Me, and Call Me is losing a bunch of his health bar. That's what I'm seeing in this lane, basically over and over again.
That's kind of what Quay does, just in general.
Yeah, just QQs. As he's going to get flung back towards Call Me here, is now Ona finding Peter. Nice little hook there as the Permafrost is available. Sylvie going to flash on over as Ona has to flash his way out. They do invest the control ward here, but taking control of this bot side river, as Keria and Gumiushi are going to be pushing up into Jiwoo, who looks just fine underneath his turret right now. Nice play so far here for Nongshim. As Sylvie's coming down, Gumiushi could be in trouble. He tries to slink into the mist, but Sylvie's coming down. Let's see whether they can actually get on top of him. They dodge the snare, and Jiwoo, he's in range. Piercing Darkness comes down. That's the safeguard. Gumiushi's still alive. Owner as well. He's going to get hooked. And first blood goes to the Zeri. Bit of a disaster to start this one off towards the bottom side for T1, but Gumiushi does stay alive.
Don't think Nongshim are really picky in that situation. Yes, they wanted to get Guma, but the peel comes in and they just end up getting Oda instead. I think they'll take that in this situation.
It's especially good because Keria was beating Jiwoo in farm, so certainly good news. As Peter going to find the hook. Good Bellows Breath there from Keria to absorb the CC.
Yeah, you can see Peter try to go for the auto minion.
Okay, that's a gnar into the wall, but there is a turret that's still getting aggressive onto Zeus. Throws some houses around, and Dundun is going to have to leave. Still, not going to be bullied here, as you can see. Good old Dundun.
Yeah, and I feel like in the bot lane... Oh
dear.
Some more.
If they can find Gumiushi here, he could just be dead. Hex Splash is going to come forward. Peter just looking to try and start this one off with an auto attack as Guma going to get lit on fire and Jiwoo just dashing around. That's the kill. And 2 of them onto this bottom lane. And now Colmy's going to turn up, but the Ornn's able to get a kill back onto Peter. Threaded volley just not quite in the right position as Nongshim will start up the Drake as well.
And honestly, you know, if Colmy hadn't come in, I feel like maybe Carrier could have turned that one around, but the backups there, using the Talia's presence on the map really effectively. I'm going to get a replay of this play. Flash is in, and Carrier actually does a decent job of blocking, but with no Flash, Guma is just very overextended. Nice dodge there from Sylvie, and Jiwoo is just constantly doing damage. Lethal tempo stacked up. Owner was low from the previous play, and so he comes in to save his AD carry, but ends up going down in return.
This is like the best Peter has played all season, by the way. He is just hitting these hooks. And we're going to see in live, Sylvie's dead. Faker is definitely having a good time.
Yeah, that's Faker. He's been around for a while. Yeah, not sure how that... Sure, we got a replay to see how that situation arose, but not ideal for Hui to have this much, because we already saw him have a lot of lane pressure against Colmy. For him to also be getting a solo kill like that, not a good omen for Nongshim.
No.
But they still have that 3-0 Zeri.
They do. And 3-0 is definitely getting towards certification territory. Thankfully, we do have Wolf standing alongside. He can let us know whether this is, in fact, certification. As Owner is going to turn up, Dundun could be in trouble here. He is going to manage to flash, but it's not really going to work out. As a Hyper Proc going to be enough to do it there. Zeus, he had Mega Gnar prepared as well. So that is a nice little kill towards that top side to give this Gnar as much advantage as possible.
Yeah, you can see Dundun tried what he could to create as much space as possible, but
caught back and speeds himself up. Flash roll. Cool guys, don't look at explosions.
Yeah, do the damage, able to get it down, and here Dundun really tries everything he can to create the distance. Even ensures that Owner kicks him towards the wall, but the damage is just too big. Ends up going down. This Jack's not very tanky yet.
And enough CC there as well. Just get that little mini stun into the wall. Allows a little bit of extra damage to go down. And so Dundun, without Counter-Strike, of course, just not going to be able to survive. As Owner down here towards the bottom lane once again. Seismic Shove just barely missing onto Faker here.
Yep, and part of the concern right now is the fact that both T1's solo laners are ahead. And on top of that, yes, the bot lane is obviously dealing with 3-0 Zeri, which isn't ideal, but the center Ornn just scales so well that I don't think they're too concerned now. But all in all, Nongshim been doing pretty solidly.
Okay, ulti is going to miss there from Faker, but if it had have hit, Colmy may have just been dead.
Yeah. A lot of damage available even this early for the Hui, so got to be really cautious in these situations.
Zeus turning Mega one more time. Looking forward to seeing what these team fights are going to look like as these two top laners head towards their first items. As Weaver's Wall comes in. All right, here's Peter, here's Jiwoo, and they decide they want to get some money from Faker. Peter might die, and he will. So Faker able to trade 1-for-1 here underneath his turret when all of the goons turned up.
Yeah, and it is the Zeri who gets the kill, so definitely who Nongshim want to be picking it up, but the amount of damage that Faker didn't return there, just kind of absurd. I like the set play from Nongshim.
Oh, Dundun was thinking about leap striking onto Zeus there.
I'm honestly shocked he didn't. That would have felt like a very Dundun move.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, that really did. It felt like a 2015 Worlds play, you know, where it's like, let's just stack everyone in the mid lane and try and kill Faker. By the way, isn't that's what you're supposed to do?
That's the strat. That's the plan.
You can understand why they did it though, because he was definitely the pressure point on their side. As Peter gets yet another flash. He's a man possessed today.
You know, I just realized that I was saying earlier how Ornn could just build a support item, but they kill double support items, so it's Senna who's building the support item.
Right, but he could have done it if Senna decided not to build one.
Yeah, he gets to build the normal items.
Yep.
So
you've been watching too much LEC, haven't you?
Yeah.
That's your issue. We don't do the farming center here.
Watching LEC because the time it's on as well is like so late for us, and I'm tired and delirious. I'm just not sure what's going on.
That's what I felt.
Best way to watch it.
Watching the final, it was that was a fever dream. as they tried to chain CC him, but he managed to press 2 buttons before he died, and therefore almost 3 people died.
Yeah, that's part of the issue I'm seeing with Nongshim's composition's lack of range. If you have to get close to Hui to kill him, yeah, that can happen.
And also if you have to get close to each other to do stuff, that can happen. And that's it's a little bit of a worry, because this is feeling a little bit like a deathball composition on the side of Nongshim. And that's precisely what Hui really likes to deal with, especially if he doesn't need to be up close and personal. Second dragon, this game will be a Cloud. We have got a couple of the less pivotal dragons out of the way as far as souls are concerned, as most people would say. I'd personally say that Cloud Soul is the strongest.
Cloud Soul with Zeri?
Yeah, exactly. I'm often overruled, though. I do also really like Cloud Rift, because running fast is fun.
But we have to admit, okay, let's be honest, the current best Rift now is Infernal.
That's true.
The Cinders
the Cinders are very... And also that gives you a bit of a taste of Cloud Soul as well, which I'm okay with. His movement speed is just the greatest.
I genuinely think they could have... Oh, well, it's Ocean. But I genuinely think they could have just given the Cinders nothing. There's no stats on them. And there's just a little speed boost. And I guarantee people still would have collected them. They would still zoom around the map, pick them up.
Oh, yeah, 100%. The Cinders, it could have just been Cloud Soul's effect, you know, is the Cinders, and it just gives you movement speed. You just go and pick them up. It'd kind of be like you were a disciplined priest in World of Warcraft in that patch where you'd be able to pick up the little feathers and you'd run fast.
Yep, yep.
I don't even remember which expansion that was. I think it might have been Cataclysm. Can't remember. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. You can place them down for your teammates as well.
Yeah, right? It was really cool.
It's like Bard chimes, I guess.
True.
Not chimes, they're, what's it called?
Meeps.
The hot cocoa? No, the hot...
Oh, yeah, the hot cocoa. And when people don't pick that skin, I get very upset. And I think everyone knows that, because I do actually vocalize it every time. As that's an hour into the wall. And Zeus going to throw out a boomerang. Dundun just getting abused under his turret. It's not very nice.
This lane's not going too hot.
Yeah, the turret is not very alive.
Yeah, struggling, especially 5 Void Grubs secured by T1. Definitely make it easier to take it down, but there is a 40 CS lead in the top lane.
That is pretty ridiculous. The Seismic Shove going to pull back Ona. Not going to be able to safeguard around here as there are rocks everywhere. Gumi should be able to come over and heal him back up again. And so Dundun just going to leave his turret for dead. This is, of course, the Dundun comfort zone. Getting crushed in lane as Jax.
Yep, and this is also the Zeus comfort zone, crushing your lane.
As Nah.
Yeah.
Both of these top laners just feeling absolutely fantastic about the game state. I imagine, you know, Dundun would be okay with not being as far behind, but I also I just imagine that he's not phased, really. And he can just look, press tab and look at Jiwoo. 4-0 with his Static Shiv, has a Last Whisper now completed as well. And as long as you don't look at the Trinity Force that Zeus just built, you're going to be pretty happy.
5 plates taking top lane, and I believe all the gold picked up as well.
And 40 CS.
Yeah.
But Call Me is ahead by 10. So there we go. He's shoving a massive wave into Faker, though, so he's going to be able to mitigate some of that advantage as Rift Herald going to be considered now. I don't think there's going to be too much of a contest here on the side of T1. Just going to let this one go over. A lot of vision control here for Nongshim, as they are aware of it. As you can see, there is a ward in the pit. T1 just not interested, yeah.
Even after the buffs to the driving capability, which is something, you know, I feel like
maybe Ono just like he's like
Harrier could have appreciated.
Absolutely. Although I did like his Around the World that he went for. As all right, Ona going to get the mini stun into the wall here onto Call Me, who flashes immediately. Oh. Good Seismic Shove, and Ona is just taken down! Call Me outplays it beautifully! And now Faker, he's going to have to run as fast as he can, but the Weaver's Wall is going to come through, gets the flash, and Call Me has just ticked to online mode!
Absolutely on fire, completely outplays Ona there, and then even gets the flash from Faker as well. Might be looking for more.
Yeah, and this is the Bloodthirsty Peter. He turns around, never mind. Not the Bloodthirsty Peter, it's different Peter.
He's just sending a message.
He is. Wandering in to say hi, and then we'll leave.
Yep. But...
He just, congratulations on 900 games, bye-bye. I think that's what he did.
I think Ono honestly just felt like he'd go for that play, real slick, just slide in, get the combo, but Call Me ready, great use of the flash as well, and now You know, as much as we talked about T1 having a long-range advantage, I feel like if Nongshim really start to get power in the carries, obviously the Jax is a bit of a lost cause at this point, but the Talia and Zeri are going to be major threats.
All right, Jiwoo. Just trying to scout out where people are. I think that was actually a huge turning point. I think you're exactly right. I think this, we may have a game. I can see it. It's on my hands somewhere. And Nongshim, they're going to have to keep the momentum moving forward, and they are still down by about 2,000 gold.
Yeah,
I'm looking into that top side of the map as far as that issue.
Well, you see, He just picked up his Triforce, and so that now means he's... Oh no, there's...
All right, there's a hook onto Carrier, but Carrier doesn't seem too bothered by it. Still going to have to flash to get himself out of the way, as that Control Ward will be the only prize that Nongshim are able to pick up outside of the Summoner spell.
A lot of Summoners being bait now. No flash on Faker, no flash on Carrier. Definitely sets up for a potential play here.
And it is Ocean Soul, so it's not the most fun as far as souls are concerned. Nice little snare, but good buffer. As Peter avoids some of Faker's damage, but T1 will gain some control of the river here as there's the Weaver's Wall. Peter misses the hook, but it's still so much damage as everyone is just running over the rocks. But this fight is so broken up. The Na able to grab one kill. Good fear from Faker as well as he tries to keep himself alive, but the flash from Dundun is going to be there. But it's Ona that's taking matters into his own hands. Jiwoo gonna get cued to the face, and it's a triple kill for this man's Lee Sin. And Zeus is looking to hunt down his lane nemesis. Not going to be able to find the house there, but T1, they will find the dragon.
And it feels like the engage from Nongshim, the concept was pretty cool, trying to cut them off with the wall, but the execution wasn't quite there, and T1 refocused first, and Zeus just kind of came in. He is so strong right now. We can see they're attempting to cut off T1 here, but unfortunately the Q from Peter doesn't connect. Komi doesn't actually catch Kumiusi on the other side, and if you look, the 3-man knockup from Carrier also being hit by a lot of AoE damage from Faker, and Zeus just completely pummels the backline with the help of Ona. And you know, while this was happening, Dunder was getting some work done, but it just wasn't enough in comparison. This Nara is so much stronger than the Jax.
Yeah, this is one of those things where it's like you press tab and you're like, oh, that was what was happening top lane. Oh dear, that's not really what you want to see. 50 CS in the lead and now 2-0-2. As Faker's just going to get thrown around like a ragdoll. Not very fair. Grasping Maw going to come on through, but it's not going to do anything. And so Nongshim able to get one back, and they lose just one dragon, so not end of the world, I guess, but it's 5,000 gold. How did that happen?
Yeah.
Where did that happen?
You know that fight around Dragon?
Oh, yeah.
That.
Oh, that. And that was 5,000 gold worth
Well,
of
they were already
fight.
2,000 up.
So 3,000, still 3,000 gold?
Yeah, well, one thing, they got the shutdown on the Zeri as well.
Ah,
I believe,
true.
one. And Faker just kind of caught wandering here. Not something you really do on Wei. As we said, great at a distance, but up close and personal isn't his forte.
No, and Peter being able to slink in through zero vision. We'll be able to do that as we're fighting again. All right, Carrier going to get permafrosted. Immediately does cleanse that one off. And now we're driving the Herald. And Peter puts it straight into the turret. Nicely done. Gets a little bit of value. Oh, goodness. That is not the dredge line that he was looking for. Still, the rest of his team is going to be there. Really good interrupt, so he doesn't get resonating struck. And Zeus now looking to try and move his way in here. Dawning Shadow locks down Dundun. And now Zeus, he's got the Mega Gnar up and available. Won't even need it to help lock down the kill onto Sylvie. And why do I feel like this game might be over, Ox?
Yeah, because they're going towards Baron, and there's no jungle on the side of Nongshim, so I think there's a good chance it probably is there. Nongshim trying to fish for something, trying to find an angle, just not able to get enough, and then they end up overstepping. Zeus walking in just ends up being such a massive problem there. Colmey's trying to give it a go, but I don't think you have any hope here.
I don't think it's happening unless there is a little bit of a blunder. And you can see Nongshim, they're just going to try and get what they can. But look at this turret, it's so incredibly healthy. There are no minions, so they're not going to be able to get too much.
Yeah, and they get the cleanse, but they just end up kind of overcommitting, getting too close. Because, you know, initially we have the Herald play, and then Peter opts to go in very dangerously. Oh.
Well, Colmy is going to find a Gnar, who's just going to wander around, hops the wall, gets a flash. Okay. Going to let him live for the moment, but he may not be as generous to the turret. As Colmy gets word that Peter's on his way in. He's like, I'm not going to miss this hook.
I mean, I think they need a bit more than those two. You can see Jiwoo coming along as well. That seems like more an appropriate number to take down this Nah.
I think they need as many as possible as the Q is going to connect there onto Sylvie. And Ona follows him a very long way. Arctic Assault going to get him over. Yeah, go in. I reckon it's a good idea. Gets the ward over the wall. We'll know exactly what's going on. Over the base. Okay, Dundun has found a lot of friends that aren't very friendly. Oh, Colby! What a heroic play! Oh, no. Cue the Celine Dion.
They honestly looked like Call Me just came flying out of the terrain.
I got it!
Camera angle we had just appeared out of nowhere to immediately die.
Yeah.
You know, a good start for this game from Call Me. That play maybe not the one that we're looking for.
That's the first time I've seen something to rival that Alistair play, though. Just walking in front of the ace in the hole, you know, the original hero of bottom lane. Call Me doing it in the same lane, just a little bit further up. As Baron Buff still in tow here, T1 will be able to take their first inhibitor, might be able to find more as they push Jiwoo into the waiting arms of T1. And that's Ona that locks him down once again. Both deaths at the hands of the Lee Sin, but that one was pretty hand-delivered there by Zeus. And I don't think T1 are stopping. I think they're looking to try and finish this one off as once again Peter's going to find an unfortunate hook, but Ona is going to get into that backline. Great knock-up from Carrier as well as Dindin trying to get on top of Gumayushi. And there is the Permafrost to try and help this one out. And T1 will get somewhat routed here, losing Gumayushi and Ona as they go a little bit overly aggressive. So T1 going to back off for the moment.
Yeah, so they managed to save the base, but still not in the greatest condition here. And yeah, I want to rewatch this. So Call Me, I believe the angle the wall took, because I didn't initially see the wall, it looked like he just flew out of nowhere to eat the ult and everything else.
Yes. I could hear that my heart will go on the entire time.
A bit of a fail flash, but now we have a flank. They're just killing Faker. That's the game plan.
I think that is. And they may succeed. Permafrost not quite in range here as Sylvie is going to get slowed down momentarily. Dundun is probably going to die as Zeus is capable of ignoring everyone on the team, I guess. Maybe not Jiwoo, who does do a fair bit of work. And he's going to get flung around like a bit of a ragdoll, and there we go. So they lock down the Nah. The Faker lives, I guess, this time around.
A lot of sacrifices in this game, you know?
Yes.
Teammates dying for each other, trying to keep their friends alive. And now Carrier's decided he wants to go top and handle Nongshim single-handedly, which kind of feels like a vibe he's had this game.
Yeah, and this season as well, I think.
I think that's safe to say.
Getting a few upgrades starting to come out here. Does need to get one more level to give them to his friends.
It's also, it's a bit of an annoying situation with, you know how obviously before, ornaments were always mythic items.
Yeah, now you have to make sure that your inventory is organized,
well,
like it was originally.
It's not even just that, there's also like, not every item can become a mythic.
There's a new list of mythicable items, yeah.
Ornamentable items.
Yes.
But like sometimes there's games where your team just don't have that many ornamental items, so you kind of just can't make a full set, you know, which is very sad for an Orn.
No, it is not great.
See if that situation arises here. I think they have a decent spread so far.
If you are playing Orn in solo queue, just make sure you have a URL to a list of all of the ornamentable items.
Yeah, post a PowerPoint when you get into the lobby.
Yeah.
That always goes well.
It always goes well, and it gets you on Reddit almost every time, which is fantastic.
That's the goal.
You always need that. Or on Pabu's Twitter, which is also fantastic. Either of those, something certainly worth writing home.
Dundun's gone for the anathemas.
I don't blame him. He needs all the help.
That is a true sign that lane has gone.
All right. This could also be a little bit of a worry. Is Gumayushi going to get pulled back right into the open arms of Peter's anchor? Does an anchor have arms? I guess, sort of. There's two things coming off the sides at the bottom. I guess it makes sense. And Nongshim able to get a swift little pick off onto the center. Nicely done.
And I like that even as this game has felt more and more doomed for Nongshim, they've never kind of given up, and they're still looking for these picks. You know, if they get...
Oh, Ona's on a ward here as well. As the hook is going to connect there from Peter this time around. They're trying to burst him down, but there's a lot of damage coming through. Oh my god. Okay, tries to take the Sonic Wave Resonating Strike, and there is a burst fire in his face. Oh my god, Faker's damage is absurd.
Yeah, he's kind of hit that point where he's a problem. Speaking of problems...
That's through anathemas. Unless Dindon put it on someone else.
If he put it on someone else, then he is a braver man than I.
Yes.
I tell you, if I'm in that lane matchup right now, I know who my anathemas is going to be on.
Yes.
And I ain't changing it for anything.
All right, Call Me moving on up, seeing whether he can grab Carrier here. Walks over that control ward. Is the Bellows Breath going to be in hand? No, it's not.
Yeah, he definitely takes damage.
He just does not care.
Yeah, he really takes a lot. Oh, and now his Jack Show is stuck? Yeah, really
Alright.
a lot of damage there.
He wanted to walk back to his minion wave anyway, I guess.
Yep.
Huh. All right. So, pretty tanky. Relatively tanky.
Yeah, somewhat rather.
Yeah.
Ways to describe his tankiness.
All right. Faker just going to be creating mini equalizers all over the place, although kind of bigger than an equalizer. Just doesn't quite do...
Wider than an equalizer.
Yeah. Doesn't quite do the damage, I guess. Although, it does have 3 items and 8 stacks on his Dark Seal, so maybe it does.
It still does quite a bit. We are seeing the Ornament Live come out, the upgraded Triforce coming through.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a Baron.
The Infinity
Baron on
Force.
Vision.
Well, that's one way to do it. Dundun is also on Vision, trying to take down this outer turret on the bottom side of the map. It looks like Nongshim are opting in for an attempted play on this as the Weaver's Wall does come down. That is Ona locking down the Baron, but can they find the team fight is the question. Oh no, Dundun dives over and delivers a bit of the ultimate to Peter, and Dundun's very much dead. Oh, Dawning Shadow, that's going to lock it down, but actually Faker had the kill in his back pocket anyway. Zeus going to be held at bay for the minute, but they got themselves the Baron. They also got themselves a kill. And now T1 are going to look to re-destroy this mid lane inhibitor.
And honestly, I think Sylvie kind of misplayed a bit there. Had an opportunity to get into the pit and didn't take it, was waiting, and as a result got kicked away by Ona. So I think there was a chance to at least open up the possibility for steal, but it's still hard. It's hard to do against Lee Sin. Hard to make the decision to go into the pit when you know T1 are very patient. Setting up Baron health, and very close one there.
And this is, like, the sieging power of Ahui is just, it's just really not fair. It's okay, ulti comes down onto Peter, who tries to get himself to relative safe. It's not safe. There's nothing safe about it.
Wow.
If you're within a screen of this way, you are dead.
A screen? I think perhaps a little bit
two
more.
screens?
Maybe
two
two and a
screens.
half?
If you're on the Rift and Faker's way is here, then you're dead.
Get back in the fountain if you want to live.
Yeah, and even then, I don't know. I don't know whether you'll be safe. As Dundun looking to try and get Zeus out of here, but that's what he's been trying to do all game, and it hasn't really been working out. They are starting a little bit of a battle. Nice grasping more there from Faker to pull them together, and these health bars are just evaporating. There goes Sylvie. That's going to be their first one. Crypt Bloom going off as the Seismic Shove goes completely wide. And Zeus trying to charge up the Gnar. He does manage to get in this, the Gnar at the same time. And in the meantime, the Nexus just explodes. T1, they'll take game number 1. And it looked like Nongshim had some of the plays, but the money was just always in the T1 back pockets.
Yeah, there were some decent attempts. I like that even when they fell behind, they were still trying to make things happen. They just weren't waiting for the game to end. But this is kind of the level we expected between them. You know, there is a big divide. Top lane didn't go too hot for Nongshim. Zeus on pretty solid form, I think it goes without saying.
Yep. And looking at Roach's expression there, he was like, yeah, it's pretty good. That's what I sort of felt.
That's the vibe you interpreted.
Yeah, that was the vibe, and I would probably give him that. As Nongshim going over the tape to see whether they can find what they can fix up. And I think if you just look at the top side of the map and say, let's not fall this far behind, maybe that's the way to do it.
Oh man, if someone had just told Dundun, don't fall behind against Zip, man, why didn't they think of that?
They said it against Bro. They were like, don't fall behind against Morgan. He's like, all right, solo kill 1, solo kill 2. They just forgot to have the pep talk this time around, and he did
they need to hype him up.
a third of the damage of his opposition and stuff like that.
And Dew managed to get pretty fed on the Zeri, but we just never had the Zeri moment, unfortunately, for Nongshim.
No, we didn't. Was maybe a little bit too early, but it is now time to head to a short break. When we get back, the space will break down that game. We'll have game number 2. We'll see you there.
탑
미드
이거 유지하자.
웨이브도 지키면 좋을 듯.
오케이 오케이.
펠레 더비 다 빠졌다.
EW 계속 갈게.
나 90초.
파워 좀 쳐볼게.
천천히 잡아. 천천히 잡아.
베리 입 빠졌고. 세죠. 세죠도.
나이스.
나이스.
and welcome to the space. We are here after game number 1 of T1 up against Nongshim. I am Valdez. With me is Wolf and Chronicler. We're going to be breaking down that first game, which, you know, honestly, for a while, it looked like Nongshim had a chance there. And then T1 decided to play the game.
As long as you took very selective looks at what was happening in terms of golds and individual matchups, actually it was a competitive game. And then they, like, almost beat them at 22 minutes. So for draft, I thought it was a pretty good draft. You know, the center win rate continues, but outside of the Jax, I think that this is a pretty good draft from Nongshim. A lot of comfort.
I thought that the Gnar pick was pretty cool because I thought, okay, there's a pretty high chance they're going to play a tank top here, but they decided to go for the Jax into the Gnar, which really defined this game, unfortunately. But up until that point, we were pretty happy with it. Deny the Nautilus pick. Zeri's going to scale really well. Then they played around the Zeri, got the Zeri accelerated. We certified that pretty early. We'll get to that in a minute. But T1's coordination as a team is just overall way better. When there's a hole in the top side of the rift, they're going to win eventually.
Yeah, so we've had a lot of T1 happy games where they happy game in draft. I think this draft, they took some risks, right? Early Hui and then the Ornn Senna, but not really anything too crazy. But they just happy gamed in-game instead because it was messy.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. And these early kills from the side of Nongshim, it made it look like, okay, I mean, Zeri's got 4 kills by the end of this all. I mean, they've got a pretty good chance, right?
They really wanted to push the advantage here, T1 did. They had the ward there, but Owner, look how low he is going into this fight. He thinks he can come over here and save this. Ends up being a little bit disastrous. Great hook from Peter, had a fantastic Nautilus game. And then Zeri starts to get ahead, and then it happens again in the second fight where, you know, we're ready to certify it because T1 once again just not respecting Peter on this knot.
And he did a really good job. The reason why Owner was as low earlier was because Sylvie actually had a good game early on. The team fighting, unfortunately, wasn't really there, but you're seeing these early kills and you're like, oh, okay, maybe. Things on the bottom half of the map looking good.
Otherwise, though, on the top side, the pick that he picked into the Gnar, into the best top laner in LCK, possibly the world, didn't go so well in the laning phase here. He was dove one time, but otherwise these leads here are just natural leads in the lane. He was shoved into his turret constantly. Plates were going down. He eventually got the entire turret, ended up being about 50 CS ahead. And this is where things were a big problem because Zeus was always going to be stable. He was always going to be a threat. He was always able to stop this Jax from doing anything in sides. And then his team fighting was also very significantly good. He made a large impact, let's say, whereas the Jax, unfortunately, only cost his mid laner his life. Let's just say.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. I mean, Dindin going for comfort, I suppose. He says, okay, well, I can get through this laning phase. He didn't build plated seal caps. He didn't get through the laning phase. He got ganked, and it was just kind of a disaster from there on out.
Yeah, in theory, like, it's comfort for him. You have the Sejuani, but realistically, Sejuani's going to be drawn towards the Zeri to try and snowball that lane. You don't really want to have that Senna Ornn lane play out in isolation, so it's a bit too much for Nongshim to handle.
T1 banned Cassante, so of course had to go for the Jax. It was the only option. Guys, let's take a look at the second highlight here, which is where T1 decided to win the game.
And it felt somewhat winnable, even though obviously we know these two teams. We know that's not likely. Hook doesn't hit. And crucially here, Call Me ends up on the bottom side of the objective, and no one gets Faker. Like, if Faker dies here, if Dundun and Call Me actually go more towards the top half of the fight, I think they might win this.
Yeah, I think also, like, Call Me on an awkward position here. A lot of stuff misses. The hook misses. The Sejuani ult misses. And then the turn is so easy for Zeus, who's got his Gnar bar set. So, again, this Gnar that has a ton of money and was completely uncontested could just help carry this fight. This is the last, clip we grabbed, but Zeus did a ton of work in sides for the rest of the game and helped kind of keep T1 together. When sometimes Faker was getting caught, I will say, I want to give Nongshim for credit for proactive play, stopping overextending Hui from actually being a menace. Faker often does push super hard and gets away with it. Nongshim definitely punished him super hard, but unfortunately Jax just wasn't able to do anything, so it didn't work out.
That was kind of the story of the game. Like you guys said, there were some other team fights, but T1 were just so far ahead that we elected to skip those and, not have you guys watch those again. Let's take a look at the POG of game number 1 on the side of T1. It will, in fact, be Zeus 3, 1, and 10. And look at his DPM on Gnar.
He also got one gank, but he was already, 20, 30 CS up before that even happened. And the moment that he got an even bigger lead, like, the game was just, it felt like it was done, right? He was just unstoppable for that moment. The only time when he died, he did also trade his life. And his impact in these team fights on top of the coordination that T1 already have, his individual impact, it just makes this team such an insanely tough opponent to actually beat.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a second strong AD carry threat, basically, with how fed he was in this game. And Senna's obviously tough to deal with on its own. And yeah, finding Jiwoo here is just the final nail in the coffin. He just had a really aggressive game, both in lane and also in team fights. And now, the only top laner in our top POG is tied with the mid laners.
Yeah, and he's up there with Faker, his teammates, so obviously the two of them sharing quite a bit. We did have some looks towards the mid lane. I think that's fair with Faker playing the way he also did a huge helping of damage, but Zeus for us was kind of the obvious choice, and the obvious choice for the majority of us. 9 out of 12 for Zeus. Let's see what happens in game number 2, though, as we go back to the casters.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for the breakdown of game number 1, and we're here to bring you another one. And we'll see whether Dundun's going to be able to stand toe-to-toe against the now 500 POG point Zeus. It's a tall order. It's a tough ask. It's, yeah, I don't know. And we can see he's on your screen looking a bit baffled.
I think you have to just try and give a more stable matchup where you're not going to suffer as hard.
Whoa.
It's a big ask because
that's a big amount of games.
that is a large amount of games.
That's yeah, very, very large. 100 and what is that? 32, 42, 142 games over the second place.
And normally when we see these lists of like people have the most in terms of like games, wins, assists, stuff like that, you see a lot of players who haven't been playing for a while, but only Score there, I think, isn't actively playing.
Yep.
Everyone else is either active playing in the LCK or LPL for Ruler. So,
Yeah,
cool.
true. It's kind of nutty. Faker, I don't think he's going to have to retire before anyone ever gets to any of his records. He just makes milestone after milestone after milestone and makes it very difficult for anyone to ever catch up. And hopefully he never quits, just so that we can just... I'm looking forward to celebrating, you know, his 6,000th kill and his 2,000th game. Isn't it? It's just going to be great.
We'll be old men, he'll be an old man.
Yeah.
You know, good times.
Well, Aatrox, oh well, I'm already an old man. Aatrox and Orianna already banned away, and Senna and Lucian, just the entire couple, just removed.
Yeah, so same bans for Nongshim as they had on the red side, but T1 have opted to ban the Lucian instead. The Senna themselves, so Cassante, TF, Smolder was what they banned last time, and those have been left open. And, you know, I said I wanted them to get a really stable matchup for Dundun. The problem was they were on red side, and they ended up in a matchup which went really badly. Now T1 are on red side, and they will have counter pick, so Tenji could be a rough one. We do see the Nautilus band away, which, considering Peter's performance last game, I think was a good call. He had a really strong game, but that means that all those picks they banned last time are open and available.
Smolder.
Will we see Nongshim pick any of them up?
Smolder!
The answer is yes!
There we go.
Immediate Smolder lock, which we assume is going bot, but, you know, could go mid, could go top if we're getting really wacky, but probably bot lane.
Yeah, I'd like to see it somewhere not bot lane. Twisted Fate, the consideration here, of course. Three-way flex as well. Can be all over the place.
Well,
so
Harriers on this team, four-way
flex. Five-way flex? I had a friend of mine that used to play jungle TF.
Yeah, why not?
It's pretty, you walk into lane with a gold card and you click on people.
That is a pretty effective strategy.
It works.
Wig still it doesn't.
Yeah. He doesn't clear the jungle very well.
No.
As that is Melio locked in. So we have confirmation that it's not likely to be Carrier playing the Twisted Fate. So a three-way flex once again.
Yeah. And looking towards the Vi, I really like the Vi, honestly. It's something we've seen often frequently banned. It's second rotation. But playing into the Melio, you know that like a Sejuani or a Maokai just kind of won't cut it in terms of the fact that he has that cleanse ability. Vi gives you that reliable lockdown. So do like the pickup for the side of Nongshim. Now, they know they're in the Melio, so they could just take support here. But looking in a different direction, potentially.
Huh. That would be a champion choice. A few different things here, but call me going, oh, is it the dragon? Are we doing double dragon?
Oh my god, they could have a Shyvana's? No.
Oh, imagine it. We could have had triple dragon. Instead, we have...
What bonus do you get
Wall
for
Lady.
TFT, triple dragon?
I don't remember. That set was so long ago.
It was
a very long.
You don't remember.
Yeah, it was, what was it, Dragon Mancer or something like that?
like that.
And it was not very good.
Wow.
I seem to remember it not being very good.
But anyway, moving on to today.
Lord Dog, if you're watching, can you just let us know what the dragon thing did? That would be great.
Holmy had a really good Talia game in the early levels, so picking that one again makes a lot of sense. The Rel, though, likely going to the jungle, definitely a pick we've seen have a lot of success with that A engage potential. And now, targeting the Cassante, and this is a bit of that concern, because they have counter pick for Zeus.
Yep.
They can ban away stable blinds from Dundun, and then he has to pick something to go into Zeus again.
And they have still a lot of flexibility. A lot of people could be playing the Twisted Fate. So
They could.
you can hold that flex for forever.
It could be a TF top lane, you know? It could be a TF mid, which means the TF is going to come top lane. A lot of options.
Yeah. I think, if TF is mid, then TF is, I guess, bot lane and top lane and jungle.
Wherever he wants to be.
Well, a Yuumi ban does come in there. Of course, Peter was one of our premier Yuumi players back in the day.
I wouldn't have expected it, but maybe a pairing with a Smolder that they think could be threatening. Especially in the Emilio, who doesn't have the most lane pressure. Like, bear in mind, Smolder is just going to scale, and not just because he's a dragon.
Yep.
So, you know, if you were to be able to get away with playing Smolder Yuumi, you would be very problematic later on. Camille ban coming out from Nongshim, interestingly enough.
That's a Karma. She has been slightly nerfed on this patch.
But they did buff Malignance early game, so it kind of compensates.
Ooh, true.
Also a flex, so who really knows where anything is going on the side of T1, apart from the Rel and the Milio, if they do lock this in.
Yep.
Probably mid. I would wager it's mid, and the TF is probably bot, but I don't think that one's really cemented, but we'll see.
Yeah, now we theoretically have a lot of things that can go everywhere.
You know, I think the Udi is probably the one.
It feels the least problematic.
Yeah, you know, just lock that in, build tank, hope the Zeus leaves you alone.
Yeah.
That can be a pretty good game plan. As for the support pick,
I wouldn't mind something a little bit more aggressive. I would have liked Karma actually in the bottom
think
lane.
it's difficult to really.
Okay.
Oh, this is definitely aggressive. Less so.
Yeah, I'd like the Blitz idea.
I feel like, you know, you just don't have, even with the Blitz, like, I don't think Smolder has, like, insane kill power bot lane. The Ricard obviously something that does scale up well into the team fight, so I think it makes sense. A lot of late engage between the Vi and the Ricard. And now, finally, we're going to get some answers with T1.
Yeah, where is stuff going, guys?
Yeah,
That's a Yone. I guess we don't know.
Top Yone, mid Karma, 80 carry TF. Makes the most sense in my mind.
Yone Emilio is a pretty strong bottom lane, though, so I'm still a little bit in two minds as to where things are going.
Sure.
Have you seen the Karma Emilio lanes as well?
That sounds obnoxious.
Yeah, it doesn't sound very fun to play against it, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
I'm expecting that it's going to be Ona playing that Yone, though. We've got Grimyushi on the Twisted Fate, and then Faker is going to be playing the Karma, something that he has played many, many times to a lot of people's chagrin in the past, when she was just another support in the mid lane. This will be a little bit more damage this time around.
So I think ultimately you have a hopefully more stable lane for Dundun. You have a very strong scaling Jiwoo, but the TF, I just feel like the problem is T1's composition, if they get ahead of the curve, is such an issue. The Karma is a pick that first time spikes so hard, and the TF just gets free gold. You know, I know TF always gets free gold from farming, but now you can crit with your passive, so you get even more free gold. So it's just money galore.
Yeah.
TF pick. And with like Static Shiv being 2,700 gold, very easy to just get a ton of items, do a lot of damage, stun card people. And, you know, he has the extra range increase from the Milio as well.
Yeah, which means gold cards can sort of fly from everywhere, red cards from
imagine
everywhere.
if he gets a rapid fire cannon and that, and he's just launching it from like...
Who needs a Hui, you know, when you've got Twisted Fate, I guess? But Nongshim, certainly still some stability here. Very similar idea with the composition, except having a little bit of added range and Elder Dragon. Once you hit 225 stacks, we'll have to see whether it works out as our first Smolder makes his way onto the Rift.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
And I do want to point out, Ox, that it's a little sad that Faker's 900th game is Karma.
Yeah.
It's not
What would you have wanted to see?
Rise.
Yeah?
I think it's probably. I think Rise is the
Little
most.
throwback.
라스리안 온디.
Ooh, but he does do first damages.
Yeah. It's the main thing. A lot of focus on the Smolder. It's going to be Doran's Ring start, and we have seen the strat has been put 3 points in W. Help you just to thin out the wave, helps to deal with your weak early game. And the aim of the pick is scaling. You know, 2-5 stacks is when your Q just becomes one of the best abilities in the game. And you get stacks for, like most stacking champions, a variety of things.
Yeah.
Last hit minions is the big one. Hitting champions with your Q, I believe, as well. Stack Central.
The Super Duper Fire Breath or whatever it's called.
You want to tell all the viewers all the names of
I don't really want to because
his abilities?
his ultimate ability is spelt wrong. Orcs.
Oh yeah, it's spelled in the...
It's Moom. What is Moom? What does that mean? Because it's obviously not Mom, because that's spelt with a U.
Yeah.
So I'm very confused.
Yeah, I was lost on that one too.
Yeah, very.
Maybe it's
very
like a... Is he part cow? Is that like a...
Ah, and they wanted it to be palindromic.
Yeah.
It does.
sense.
That makes the most. Okay, now it's all coming together. But I don't really understand the Ultimate's name. Is Smolder the first champion that just always has a runny nose? Because his W is called a chew, and so he just sneezes all the time, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think there's any other actively sneezing champions.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, I say that. I've definitely had some champions sneeze on me and I just get one.
It is dangerous.
Yeah, you
when
definitely
your enemy
had a game where
has,
there's like a Fed Talon and he just sneezes. Oh, I'm dead.
Oh.
Oh, my whole team's dead. Okay, cool.
When Talon sneezes, though, shurikens come out. So
Yeah.
I don't understand.
That must hit your sinuses.
Yeah, it certainly must. You can see why he continues to sneeze afterwards. I don't think it does help him out at all.
Yeah, not too much of a reprieve in that situation.
Speaking of reprieve, Nongshim not having much of that in this bottom lane either. As you can see, Gumayusi just continuing to rain cards down on them. Faker going to avoid all of the threaded volley. Stormy not quite able to find too much there. And he's been pretty good, Faker, at choosing champions that don't do dashing into this Talia. And Stormy has not really found as much value as he would like.
Yeah, I think it does have a decent amount here into Yone and Rel, but definitely not as much in the lane matchup. Just basically there to wave clear. That blob looks so...
Yeah, the fact that the ability is called a chew as well is a bit of a problem there, isn't it?
Just
Chew going to get kicked back.
It also like hangs in the air. Like it looks like TF just gets like caught and it's suspended in this knot bubble.
I just prefer not to think about it. As Faker and Colmy continue to throw abilities around, and Sylvie going to make his way towards his top lane. Zeus still about 500 health.
Senses it because he had his Q stacked up and he didn't opt to Q in, which I think is greater restraint than I've seen most Yones.
I've never seen
ever
it.
show.
I've never seen it outside of an LCK game. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, normally, even if they're not queuing forwards, they just sort of
Is
queue somewhere.
Colmy just dead? Well, he's not going to flash just yet, as he's able to wait for the Shattering Strike to potentially be launched. And so therefore, they're not going to go for it. Either going to get hit by a stacked deck a few times, and there is a red card as well from Gumayusi just for some added damage.
Low on mana. Wait, did they see the lead there?
Well, they definitely didn't see a Lee. Because
Vi,
there's
sorry,
none of those in the game. But the Vi may have been... Okay, Dundun, if you solo kill, I am going to lose my mind. Okay, Zeus down to sub 100. Ona in the area, and Dundun not going to get baited. It's just not that guy. Not going to see red this time around.
Yeah, good read. I feel like both the bot lane of T1 and top lane of Nongshim both having good reads there and just avoiding overstepping when they suspect the jungler could be nearby. But honestly, Dundun, the lane's got a lot better, you know?
Yeah.
All you had to do was pick Udyr. That was the solution.
It's gorgeous. Absolutely fantastic. And he's going to teleport back to lane, and does, of course, still have his ghost and things like that. But Zeus still with flash, and hasn't opted for a back just yet.
You know, and Dundun can actually just kind of stall out his recall if he sends the Phoenix at him like that, yeah.
And Zeus is just going to have to deal with it.
You know, I mean, Sylvie's so far away. I'm not sure how long for Call Me 6, but if Zeus doesn't end up getting a reset soon, I think he's going to get it now. Could be a very easy dive setup there. Oh, they're looking for it again, but Sylvie's standing by.
Yeah, Call Me. Going to once again be put on a leash here as threaded volley, not going to really find the target, but now Owner could be in trouble. Shattering Strike, double value there as he gets flung back into the rocks, and there's the knock-up. First blood to Sylvie, and it's elementary here for Nongshim.
Yeah, disrespectful from Owner not to flash the seismic shove there. I think you have to do so. The CC layering comes in, and Owner ends up going down. Good roam up from Peter, and a solid read from Sylvie on the play.
Really nicely done, and now Sylvie can actually transition towards his top side. Zeus is
he
teleported back, but now he's down very low again, but has thrown the ultimate out. Dundun just going to boop him a little bit and run away. Very Udyr of him.
Yeah, I saw the health Zeus was on, and I was like, wait, he has reset, and he's back to that health already. Oh, pull me in trouble.
He certainly is. Does have flash, is going to elect not to use it here, as Faker just needs to hit a Q as the Weaver's Wall, and then he's dead. Don't know how that ever was going to work.
You have to try, you know? You have to
give
try
it
and
a
be
crack.
optimistic with it. Maybe could have flashed away and then gone for the Weaver's Wall.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe utilizing flash in some capacity may have helped him.
Yeah, I think, you know, that period where Talia kind of like stands still and revs up the wall.
Yeah.
Not the best at that HP.
No, especially not in full vision and auto attack range of a Karma. Because her Q's quite wide. Dundun going to be a bit annoying here as Owner is just going to smite away.
Yeah, only
the last grub.
Only manages to be annoying and nothing really else with Owner just securing that one. And you know, it's only 1-on-1 in the kill score, but I feel like we've had a decent amount of action in this game. And Nongshim, again, solid early start.
Not doing too bad. Looks like it's going to be Essence Reaver start here as well for the Smolderers. Let me check out this gank once again as Sylvie just turns it onto Owner there, and this is the seismic shove you were talking about.
Yeah, have to be flashed. Layering comes in, missed the opportunity to get out of it. And does go down here. Pull me. Oh.
Okay. Sylvie is looking for Zeus. They're going to have to stand on the Soul. Zeus, I think, knows what the situation is. And there he goes. Cease and desist. Just held on to until after he had to return.
Yeah, there's just no outplaying that. Does manage to clear the wave up a bit, which is something. And it looks like T1 could go for the Dragon on the other side. So not a total loss for their side, but...
The money is moving in favor of Nongshim, though, as we can see at the top of your screen, about 200 gold. And look at this huge wave that Zeus is not going to be able to get to. No cannon is here.
And you
that
know,
should be plates.
It's only early on so far, so it's not that much of a factor. But you always have to think about, you know, if T1 are even, they're also getting the extra gold from the Twisted Fate passive. So you should expect them to be ahead just as a result of that alone. So the fact that Nongshim have a lead really is significant here.
Well, Peter is just trying not to give himself up, but is going to be found. Grand Entrance is going to come through. There's the Battle Dance. Is now Destiny flying into this mid lane. Call Me slowed down as the gold card is going to come through, and that means Call Me has to flash, gets himself out of the way. The newly constructed static shiv there for Gumayushi. Going to mean that that did a fair bit of damage, but Call Me finally pressing his flash button.
Yeah, meanwhile, though, Jiwoo just kind of farming down bot, doing completely fine. A little bit of poke on Guma, and 50 stacks achieved.
Oh, there we go.
175 to go.
Well, I was told by my friends in the chat for Challenger that you at 25 minutes you want to be getting towards the 225 stacks. That's sort of idyllic.
Yeah.
Is the theory.
Well, that's what we're looking out for.
Yep, see whether he can get there by then. That's, of course, where your Q turns into an Elder Dragon.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of funky builds with the Smolder. Like, there's this, like... I
like the AP one.
Yeah, they're like Shojin, Rift Maker, Leandri. Not in that order, but those items is pretty good.
I think it actually is in that order.
Maybe it is.
So I feel like you do really want Leandri's, but I think that the other two are just a little bit more important. Zeus is once again going to have to flash this time. Try and get out of the way. Vault Breaker does come through, and Call Me puts a wall down and is just not going to be able to participate in this particular battle. Sylvie makes it out without dying to the turret. And Dundun's having a much better time this game.
Yeah, and Sylvie honestly having such a strong performance so far, just able to really punish Zeus on this Yone pick with the backup of this Udyr. So jungle top going much better for Nongshim. And again, you've got this scaling Smolder, so you're kind of fine.
Yeah. Absolutely chilling. And I think if they can get Jiwoo to these stack numbers with a slight advantage like this, it is just massive for Nongshim. As Owner looking to clear out some vision, but he'll still get knocked up here by Peter. Does have level 6, but doesn't have anyone in the area to try and do some damage. And Sylvie, he's rampaging around the rift. Colmy's throwing some rocks around, and Faker is able to speed himself up with the Inspire, so he'll be fine. He is going to take the Vi for a walk, and he is going to take a lot of damage. And yes, Karma was nerfed, guys.
Yeah.
She also doesn't have an item yet. Golkar does connect. Fire kick there to just send Peter the message.
Yeah, and playing Rakan into Twisted Fate isn't a fun time. Rakan generally just really doesn't like point-and-click CC, and TF definitely a champion with point-and-click CC.
He does have that, yes. You barely even need to point, you just really need to click. As Dundun does the whole walking away from them strategy to avoid the gank, and then walks back again, and now is even more fine. This game is really going well.
Yeah.
For Nongshim.
It's honestly, it's going pretty solid so far, but you know, I feel like they've been at this point before and things kind of got out of control. So it's just about maintaining this, keeping it going. We can see bot lane, TF does have a massive lead. A factor in that he's obviously up in CS, but also the extra gold you receive. So the initial die that's rolled is weighted towards 6, and the follow-up one is weighted towards 1. So it's not as much gold.
Oh, okay. There's Godzilla Mom. She's making her way in, just trying to clear out the way.
That easy. But yeah, so TF will be getting a ton of extra gold. Obviously, the more crit you get, the more you get. But just generally, TF is supposed to be up in gold. But on top of that, having a lead is really going to become a problem later on.
Well, Sylvie is going to spot that Owner is up here trying to defend, so they're not going to be able to go for a dive.
Look at the items Guma just backed for. He just got Zeal and KJ Shard. It's 12 minutes, and he's only got 2 items. And Fake has Malignance. Ew.
Oh, goodness gracious. So this next fight is certainly one that T1 are going to be very strong for. I'm glad you mentioned it. I think 2-item spikes are certainly things that you can be pretty happy with when it comes to T1. And 1 item for the mid lane, just getting a Malignance, especially now that it's been changed to have that more early game focus. It's feeling pretty good. Sylvie not going to lose his Raptors. So a little bit of positivity there. Drake going to be up in 25 seconds.
Just give the Dragon, honestly. I don't think Nongshim should go for it. Try and get something somewhere else in return.
And it's only an Ocean. And if there's a nice soul this game, then a 3-stack of that sounds pretty good if they can continue to have some control.
I just think the TF is so strong already. The Karma's on a really big spike. Definitely feels risky.
Doesn't feel risky for Dindin, who is just having the greatest of times here towards his top lane. Colmy, maybe not in the same spot as he flashes for the Shattering Strike, but now Sylvie in perfect position once again. Magnet Storm coming down, but not really doing too much because Faker not quite there to offer too much damage back. And Gumyushi's ghosting, trying to get in range for this Destiny as they now look for Sylvie. He's an opportunity, but the quickness does come down. Seismic Shove, just gigantic with Colmy over the wall. And there's the Vault Breaker as Owner goes back in. They're able to grab the kill on the jungle. It's a big shutdown for the Twisted Fate, but now Dindin is going to turn up. Carrier gets into position, and now it's Peter that needs to be their hero. Gumyushi goes down in the fight. Owner surviving for so incredibly long, and Peter will just catch a stray Q there from Faker, as Owner might have to go for a bit of an execute, but I think it is going to be achieved, and there he goes. Jiwoo just by himself towards his bottom lane.
Such a scrappy fight there. I honestly think that T1 overcommitted a little bit, but it still ends up working out mostly because of Faker. I actually want to track how many mantras he got to use in that fight, because I think the value was a little bit absurd.
Yeah, it turns out you can... The Malignance was nerfed a little bit, especially on Corki, because of course the interaction with the Eclipse is no longer there, but it looks like Karma is still making great use of it.
Still doing pretty good. So in this situation, just a normal Q there. Oh, do you see the Smolder nearly dying in the bottom of the screen?
Yeah, even had to call his mom, and his mom wasn't really able to do too much.
Yeah, actually,
this was a really nice show.
The first mantra actually missed, so it kind of delayed Fake getting it back sooner. But then hits one there, kills the Vi, and then I think gets another in a second to kill Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another one, yeah.
Wait, there's another one, and then wait.
And then
there's another
one.
Back to back. Wow. What a champion.
So the base cooldown on it at the moment is 22 seconds, and he was able to use it within 4 seconds, I think, in that fight.
I mean, the thing there is he hit the Mantra Q, and then the explosion after also hit, so that's another refund. And the W tether hit twice, which is 20 seconds reduction, and a couple of seconds of waiting. So, pretty obnoxious in those early skirmishes, and we do end up seeing the Dragon being picked up by T1. Don't think that's too much of an issue, because Dundun doing very strongly in the side lane, and you still have the scaling Smolder.
Yeah, so feeling fine, but I could imagine that T1 probably just looking to try and get another battle like that before, you know, the window of the Karma is going to close. Because, of course, doesn't necessarily scale phenomenally well.
Yeah, and honestly, being a Chemtech Soul, pretty great for Nongshim, because there's just a lot less pressure. You know, if this was a more powerful Soul, I feel like 2 dragons, like, okay, we have to work out how we fight this on that third, and I feel like it being Chemtech means you can be a little bit more lenient, you can chill out a bit more, and if you don't feel good about the fight, it's not a big deal.
And also, healing and shielding power, if you're an Udyr, feels pretty good. So if they are actually able to stack this up a couple of times, it certainly would be good news. T1 also pretty happy with the Melio there. Moonstone is now completed.
Tenacity, actually, if Nongshim stack up a bunch of those Drakes, the tenacity value against T1, pretty big. But we'll see. We'll see how that ends up playing out. For now, T1 trying to set up around the mid lane. I look to pressure this turret here. It is Nongshim who have the Herald in pocket, but I haven't really seen an opportunity to use it. And you can see here, Smolder's kind of at this point where you can just really one-shot waves, so very comfortable.
Yeah, looking pretty happy with how this game is going right now. But probably wanting to wait a little bit longer. Haven't done a stack check. Haven't actually looked at it as, okay, there's a Destiny. And Colmy is rooted in place. Still, it's a nice seismic shove onto Gumayusi. He's going to need Carrier's help to try and get out of there. Mom is going to yell a whole bunch now as Jiwoo is sneezing all over them. Flap, 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 and they help knock down the first kill. Gumayusi dead once again. Seismic shove connects. Faker is landing Q after Q after Q with these mantras, but it's just not quite enough to win them these fights. As now Carrier, he's the one running the wrong direction, and Dundun, really nice interruption there, and Carrier's really dead. I think he was going to be dead either way, but it still looked definitely cool.
And Zeus didn't even show up for the fight in that situation.
Well, he's here now. Does that make up for it? I don't know, because I think this turret is still very dead. And there it goes.
153 stacks right now on the Smolder, so definitely approaching. And the fact you're winning team fights before that point, Nongshim doing fantastic. 2,000 gold up. Bear in mind, I'm going to say it again, the TF getting all that free gold is worth a pretty substantial amount. So the fact that they're 2,000 gold up despite that, crazy. And we see it starts out with T1 thinking they're the ones setting up for the pick. A little bit of a mistime from Sylvie, but the ult keeps Cormy away from a difficult situation, and this Udyr comes in. They just don't have the damage to deal with him right now. A great ult from Peter as well, and Cormy's reposition was really solid.
Yeah, really nicely done. I feel like Colmy has been playing right on the edge today, and sometimes it looks silly, but other times really does allow him to eke out that little bit of extra damage. And Dundun is 4-0-3, dude. What the heck is
I feel
this?
like if there's any way to describe Nongshim, it's that they're never afraid of looking a bit silly.
Absolutely not.
Dundun has gone from looking a bit silly in game 1 to looking on point in game 2.
I mean, they just don't play with pride. Like, that is just, it's just not something that they really care about. They're like, we're going to do what we can do to win, and we don't care what we look like doing it. And it's really not. Okay, well, this is aggressive as Mom's yelling once again. The CC kind of massive as once again Jiwoo just raining hell down upon them. Gumayusi will land that gold card there. Sylvie's in trouble. Faker comes round though, and I don't know whether we like it too much. Nice Mega Cone is going to connect, and Colmy, he finds Gumayusi once again, his 3rd death of the game.
You see how many control wards were in that brush? Just slammed every single one down.
That's what you got to do, and the more wards you do as a team, the more coordinated you are. Yeah. That's the rule.
300 gold worth of control wards in that brush. That's a kill.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, one was from Nongshim, the rest from T1.
Wow.
But 300 gold worth of wards slammed down there, and we see the play looks a bit scrappy at first, you know. You can see Sylvie knows they're strong, forces out cooldowns, ults Guma, and Guma actually throws the stone card on the Vi, so not achieving much with it. It starts to look a little bit painful when the Q is missed there by Sylvie and Faker turns up. But this snipe from Cormy ends up being huge.
Yeah, the big rock into the back of the head. He's going to lock down that kill. He's still 1,400 gold ahead, I think, at this point in time. Just TF things, I guess.
Yeah, just TF things.
But Nongshim might be able to get their first dragon of the game. So they're going to look for it right now. Decent Gold advantage still there, approaching 3,000, and they're going to be able to stop the dragon stacking of T1. Certainly putting a lot of halt into their plans. I think actually denying that, kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
T1 do want to accelerate.
I mean, it's also, I mean, we said this game for T1 was very much about being ahead of the curve. I feel like the TF, a large part of his strength is the fact that you get so much extra gold. Oh.
All right, let's see whether Gumayusi can get it. He does. Gets himself out of there. No seismic shove in time.
Yeah.
So the Destiny not going to get interrupted.
That is something to be concerned about, is the map play from T1.
Yep.
But I think Dundun being so strong really solves a lot of those problems.
Yeah, I feel like it's exactly as you say, because in the last game, it also looked fine, but Dundun was extraordinarily far behind, and as soon as Zeus got into any sort of team fight, it was just doomed. This time around, though, it's if Dundun makes it into a team fight that things are looking... He's got 3 items!
Into a Karma, I feel like obviously Karma has so much damage potential, but what's really important is that you have someone who can comfortably block like the Manta Qs with this build.
Yes.
And you do.
Yeah.
You know, you really do have someone who can just kind of tank these and be fine with it, so...
Imagine if he stacked 4 Chemtech Dragons and had Soul as well.
That would be a big shield.
Yeah, he'd be able to press W and be pretty K.
Yeah.
I think at that
and
point in time.
I think Jiwoo, last I saw, was close to 200 stacks, so...
Oh, we need to do a stack check.
We really do need to do a stack check. I think should be above 200 now, closing in the 225, and that is when this champion really comes online. Hasn't been the focal point so much. I mean, Jiwoo's been doing a good job. In team fights, lots of solid...
Oh, man, we are 12 stacks away.
Oh, my lord. And Rabadon just came in for Call Me? Okay.
He's ahead of the curve as well. If he gets to 225, and he should relatively soon, he's going to be ahead of that 25-minute mark. Looking very, very nice.
219?
All right. There's 220. So only needs 5 more.
5 more, it's go time. And you can see, I feel like Nongshim are really ready to sort of capitalize on this spike on top of the item spikes they came in for the likes of Call Me. T1 have to be really cautious here.
They certainly do. Sylvie looking for a possible angle here as he gets over the wall. I don't know whether he's completely out of dodge just yet. Decides to go in. I don't know about that, but the seismic shove is amazing. Gumayusi going down extraordinarily low as Mom yells into the back line. Sylvie manages to get that kill, and now they get the knock-up onto Ona. He's underneath the turret, but I don't think that's going to matter. The Shattering Strike is decent, and my god, the damage from these Mantra Qs. Another one connects, and Faker just demolishes him. Yeah, that... How long was that on cooldown for? Like
it just wasn't. It just wasn't, okay? It's if mode, apparently. And I'm not going to lie, that was probably just Baron if Faker didn't get that play. Chunks them all out, kills the Smolder there to save the day, but... Nongshim, this level of aggression coming out from Sylvie, it looks like he's going to get picked, and he just says, oh, I can buffer the stun with my ult, let's do that.
Yeah, who's picking who?
Let's go further in instead of trying to get away.
Absolutely fantastic. Well, we're going to see it once again. As Sylvie looks like he's going out.
How are you supposed to expect this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like T1 are like, okay, they're going to try to get away. Nope, Sylvie is just going deeper. The Mum goes over the top. And then, again, this looks like you could just turn towards Baron and go. But this Mantra Q...
Oh, no. And Q actually flashes in.
That's just 3 in a row. Yeah, okay, that's really... just 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Back to back.
I think Jiwoo saw the fact that he was like, I've got the stacks. It's happening, and then he just went way too aggressive. In that fight,
Faker really doesn't want to lose.
No, not his
900th match. No, he really doesn't want to. Honestly, you know, I don't think Harry has done anything particularly egregious, but the rest of the team has been struggling. It has basically just been Faker against the world.
That's how they celebrate his 900th game. They're like, Faker, you're the main character in this game. We're going to guarantee that that's the case.
Yeah,
because oftentimes he is just anyway, but he really is this time. Because everyone else is having a bit of a rough one. Nongshim have been pretty obsessive with their targeting of Gumayusi in teamfights and things like that, but Dundun laning very, very well up against Zeus. And Call Me finding some great angles outside of just being in the laning phase. But look at this, 3 items for Faker. He's got a very cool hat, as well as his Horizons Focus and some Malignant.
And the thing is, they haven't actually stacked that much MR. I'm going to be honest, Dundun, I see that cloth armor in the inventory.
No, we don't want that.
Have enough armor. Oh,
well, Sylvie's going in once again, and guess who it is? It's on to Gumayusi as he's taking so much damage. In goes Peter, but is going to get interrupted. No one's really going to fall down yet, and now the Karma has them at arm's length. Yes, there's an execute range there that they have to be worried about. They're not worried about it at all as Faker is flashing in to land these Qs. Gets another one. That Mantra is definitely back up again.
It's just always up. You always have to assume it's up. And
yeah,
he's got a lot of armor. He is very tanky, but not too much magic resist.
Oh, what the heck? Every second ability is Mantra.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
It's problematic. They are, whoa, T1 are going towards Dragon, so like, cool, we'll go towards Baron. The jungler isn't there yet, but looks like they're just going to start this one up. Guys, you're in a Baron pit against a Karma.
And there's a Twisted
Think about
Fate.
it.
So they always know. They will always know. Sylvie going to try and get himself towards the rest of his team. Will be successful as, yes, Ona locks down the Rift Scuttler. And Nongshim, they just want out. They don't want to deal with this. Soul Point goes over to T1. And Nongshim unable to get anything off the back end of it.
And even with T1 now get mid tower as well. So Nongshim really fumbling on the back of that fight. And T1 appear to have regained that composure we typically expect from them.
It's the classic scaling Karma, you know. That's just how it works out, I guess.
Buy some magic resist. I can see Sylvie's going for it, but Dundun, you've hit the armor quota. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I also like. There is the possibility of getting more of these Chemtech Drakes. Like, I feel like a Spirit Visage would be.
You know, in theory,
cool.
but also Kanik Rukin, the shield is buffed by the Chemtech dragons.
Yeah.
So it just ends up being like.
Oh, what? He doesn't have a Rukun yet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
What the heck? Why aren't you building the most broken item in the game?
The only person doing damage on the enemy team is the Karma.
I just assumed that he had it.
Yeah, it would have been a safe assumption to make.
Oh dear. All right. Well, that's a whoopsie. We're gonna put that in the whoopsie.
You know,
column.
I think him going these items isn't that bad if he was buying the Rukin now, but I see that Chain Vest in his inventory.
Yeah.
And it's really making me think, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you going for?
It's not a Rukun. All right, well, Sylvie going to be able to grab his team at blue buff. Successfully picked up.
But you is 3 items to Rapidfire now.
Yeah.
And very comfortably past the 2-5 stack. So is pretty strong, is still very squishy into this Karma.
And Peter is not going to be doing much peeling, right? He is on engaged duty alongside Sylvie. And of course, if they do create enough of a ruckus, then there's a possibility that they don't really need to peel because a good offense is a good defense, you know? Or something like that.
I've heard that said before.
Yeah, I think so. As Jiwoo didn't need the Mega Cone because, of course, he can just flap at the sides. He's going to use it anyway.
Keeps himself grounded.
Yeah, I like it. Well, not really. It doesn't really stay grounded. Mega Cones really make you go up into the sky. As Faker says goodbye to the minion wave in an instant.
Yeah, this is honestly part of the issue, is that you're not really going to make too much headway between the fact that this TF has a static Shiv and this Karma has Qs.
Yeah.
Bit of a struggle to try and push through on these towers, so... But I think, just kind of to do test, I know I've talked about this like 36 times already, but just bear in mind, Guma has 4 items, despite the fact he's 1-4-1, and he's not even got particularly a lot of CS. And I know some of them are cheaper items, but it's just kind of the power of this TF that you just cheat the game.
Yeah.
Just get more money.
He actually has the cheapest item in the game, which is the free shoes. There you go.
Yep.
Well, Peter is going to get stunned momentarily. Zeus finds an ultimate, and they just blow him up. Goodbye. Where did Peter go?
Part of the problem, playing the Rakan into a TF, once that stun cloud hits, you are in trouble. And even had Merc Treads as well, and it just wasn't enough.
No. Zeus pressed his R button, and I really like it. Just go for whichever pick you can find. Man advantage on the map gives you control.
There's
You're
no
able to
way
clear
they're
out.
starting Baron, right?
I mean, it's T1. They do like starting Barons, and they have the Twisted Fate, so they have the ability to know exactly what's going on at any given moment. Now that Destiny Gate is up and available.
And the thing is, I feel like Zeus was really far behind early, but he's kind of just done this thing where he farms, and now he is a Yone with items. And that's all you need to do. Level 17 as well, so he is suddenly a problem again.
Yeah. I think they've weathered the storm. It's absolutely true. And I guess, you know, Yone is a large portion of what this team is going to be doing in the later stages of the game, right? He'll be able to add a lot of the extra damage. And, I mean, Faker is so accelerated that I think that he's going to stay relevant the entire time, building towards a Void Staff as well.
I think he's going for the Crypt Bloom.
Ah, good
The
play.
Dominus, and then wants that extra ability haste. But Dragon in 40 seconds would be sold for T1. Not the most impactful soul, Chemtech soul, as we talked about, but definitely still something that Nongshim would want to avoid giving over for free.
Did you say more ability haste? I don't even want to think about that.
Yeah, I definitely need it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the rapid fire Milio combo. Look at the range!
That's just absurd. All right, they're going to go for another engage. This time onto Faker, and Mom just lights him on fire. Going to be taken down is now Dundun. I don't know whether you win this 1v1 anymore. And yes, he built that extra armor. I just don't know whether it works. Does sidestep the knockup as now Jiwoo is looking to execute them. Takes down Carrier first up, and that's the double. As that's what all these stacks give you. And now it should just be Nongshim heading towards this Baron. Is it happening again? Are they just going to do it again, just taking these games off T1?
Yeah, I guess so. This is why they banned away the Smolder in the first one. You do see Zeus moving over to try and get the soul. The TP is going to come in from Dundun. They don't want to give anything up to the start of T1. Baron secured.
Oh, Gumushi, I don't know about this.
died.
He is just very dead. Well, never mind. He does stay alive for a bit longer. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Still, Nongshim should be able to gather themselves the dragon and deny the soul from T1. Still a little bit given on over. And okay. Is Nongshim now in a position where they can win the game off the back of this Baron? That's the question.
So well played from Sylvie. This whole game in general, but that pick onto the higher priority target. And here, kind of seeing the power of the Smolder unleashed. Flaps over. They do so much damage.
It is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And also the double flashes being picked up with just one seismic shove there as well. I think Colmy has been a silent achiever in this game, as this was an optimistic move, and I thought that he was just going to be dead. But instead, was able to help lock down that kill with the help of Zeus. So nicely done there, I guess, from Gumushi. But still, he is quite a few deaths this game.
Yeah, you know, you talk about the karma.
Oh god, he's catching up.
Jiwoo is going to overtake in damage this game. I think that goes without saying. And you're looking to use that Baron pretty effectively, trying to pressure this bot lane tower. The wave clear that T1 has, not going to be nearly as effective in the situation. So a lot of gold going to be able to be picked up. And this is already with Nongshim having a significant lead over T1.
Yeah, they're moving. It's about 5,000 gold, the lead at the moment. Haven't broken the base yet. There's still an inner turret resting on the top side of the map. You can see Colmy looking to try and stop that one, as Dundun just pressing buttons in the mid lane. As Udyrs are what to do. 3.5 minutes if we're looking at another dragon. But I have a feeling that's not really on too many people's minds right now.
Yeah.
Rebel Baron power play continuing to stack up. See what Nongshim can actually do. They need to continue playing proactively, though. I think so much of this, like you say, is hinged off Sylvie just going in. And they need to keep that up.
Oh, speaking of which.
Yeah. Possible angle here. Zona not going to get knocked back, but they just guarantee the turret.
But I like the plays that Nongshim are making. You know, they push up mid, they rotate over, they get control of the enemy jungle, and rotate to take that top tier 2. They're doing what they need to do. Oh, Peter?
Peter's ulting.
Yeah, so he doesn't find it. He's prepping the ult, because obviously one of the changes they made with Rakan was the fact that there's a lockout before you can engage.
Yeah.
So you kind of prep it, someone walks in, he gets the immediate CC. It does look silly when the window doesn't open up, but Nongshim definitely fishing. Do need to be careful now they don't have that ultimate, but he was out of vision, so T1 do lack information on that.
Yep, they don't necessarily know, and it's already 50% done. And so at this stage, with some ability haste,
what a cooldown, honestly. Remember they nerfed ability haste, allegedly? I'm not seeing it.
No, I'm not seeing it either. I think we might need to write an angry email.
Oh, Dundun finally opting for the magic resist.
Hey, nailing it.
Yeah.
As Death Dance completed here for Zeus. And look at Sylvie's advantage. My god.
Look, I still find it crazy that, like...
Yeah, how is Twisted Fate only 50 gold behind?
Yep, just TF things. But yeah, Sylvie's lead is humongous right now. And look, both Jiwoo and Guma have picked up the Seeker's Arm Guard. And both of them could comfortably just build as Zhonya's, you know?
Yeah.
They have AP ratios. I don't know if you know this, but TF does have AP ratios.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't aware.
Yeah, there actually used to be this build people used to play where it was AP TF.
Whoa.
Yeah. Bit of an
is that sort of like that old thing, the AP Scion back in the day?
Yeah, I mean, I guess point and click stun.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Say that checks.
And then walk up and blow up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Good fun. Fun and interactive champion, the old Scion. Very sad that he got reworked.
I do think the
I'm
new
being
Scion,
sarcastic.
they did a pretty good job.
The new Scion, absolutely fantastic. The fact that you can drive him around, brilliant.
Yeah, but now everyone can enjoy that experience with the Rift Herald.
Exactly. Everyone can be Scion.
Scion walked so the Rift Herald could run, but I mean, I guess they're driving, so...
Yeah. Scion walked so the Rift Herald could be driven. That's exactly right. I think that's the saying that everyone says. 6,000 gold is the lead for Nongshim as we crest the 36-minute mark. And they have, theoretically, the strongest scaling draft here as well. So T1 certainly on the ropes. But they haven't lost a Nexus, an inhibitor turret yet. They are just holding on. And if Nongshim do make a wrong move, then, I mean, it's still T1, right?
Oh,
and
man.
they do have that coordination in teamfights to make stuff happen.
I feel like it's been such a good game from Nongshim, and
They deserve to win, 100%.
They deserve to win this 100%. But also, I am so concerned.
Yeah, same.
Now,
like maybe Faker just mantra Qs 3 times and they all die.
well, he has been doing that a lot. That has been his calling card this game.
Yeah.
RQ, RQ, and then once again, RQ.
Yeah. And Gumiushi also has 6 items as Peter.
I think it really comes down to Jiwoo because he has Cleanse and he has Seekers. So it's very hard to kill him because you can cleanse the stun
He's got
guard.
double cleanse, actually.
Yeah, he's got the kills as well. But, like, you know, if hard CC comes in, he can cleanse it and then he can easily use the arm guard to survive like a Yone or something. And I think as long as the Smolder's alive, hard to see them losing a fight realistically.
And Sylvie, he's once again on the prowl. Zeus looking for that flank angle, and you can see Nongshim. They have an idea that this is happening, and they know that he's very far away now. Just walked over a control ward. They look for a potential engage angle. As Sylvie, not actually losing any health at all.
410 stacks, by the way, on this Smolder.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Skew is going to hurt an extraordinary amount.
They're looking. You can see they're fishing.
Yeah. Skew continuing to just sneeze many, many times. All right, here's the angle. When's Mom coming? Oh, God. Okay.
Good.
Yeah, you can see Gumiushi also was looking for that gold card. He can, like you say, engage from an extraordinary range.
Yeah, I love that Carrier has been using the W specifically to like buff the gold card range, so it's just ridiculous. And actually, Sylvie, you could be in trouble here. You have to be really careful.
And T1 are just going to walk towards this Baron. It goes down extraordinarily quickly. Teleports are coming in. And Mom is going to yell. Gumiushi taking a fair bit of damage as now Peter with the quickness running. Zeus over the wall is going to blast cone his way out. And he did buy a fair bit of space. But now Dundun is in the backline just booping and booping as now Ona has to get himself over the Weaver's wall. And T1, they keep themselves alive. Nongshim still looking for more though. Ona with the Shattering Strike and he might fall. His health bar is extraordinarily low, but now Zeus looking for the angle. Dundun just hitting things as Jiwoo. Perfect timing on the arm guard. Call Me doing exactly the same thing, blocking the ultimate. And now Gumiushi, he's gonna do the same thing. Now Faker is in trouble as Dundun has got on top of him, but it's the Smolder that locks down the kill onto Gumiushi. Faker goes golden to the very last second, but he's likely to fall the Inspire Shield, buying some time. And actually, with this Mantra W, he's just surviving. This is ridiculous, but it doesn't matter because he's out of the fight and they lock down the kill onto the unit.
He's still going.
He is still going. And he's able to slow down Sylvie, then Mantras again, so he's immortal. Is Sylvie actually going to be able to kill him? We're just not going to watch, I guess.
Ult's up now, so he just has to burst with the ultimate.
Yeah. He just has to do that.
It's that simple.
It's that simple, guys. That's how you do it. And now Faker's going to channel the back. As you can see, Nongshim, they are just winning the game right now. He's going to opt in for the teleport to make sure that he can get back to his base. And
yeah, Fake has the wave clear. Matt, what everyone on T1 flashed away in that situation. This was such a hectic fight. So many mechanics on display. And you can see Nongshim trying to trap T1 in there and triple flash to get out. But I think the moment really Jiwoo stood out. Oh, we're getting a Baron play as well, but I think it's fine. But the cleanse coming out for the gold card.
All right, we're going to go straight onto live here as Gumiushi going to get the stun onto Sylvie. That's high value, but the flick back onto Ona. He's going to explode as Mom flies over the top. And now Dundun, he'll be stunned up. Man, Turtle Stance giving him the most gigantic shield ever as Carrier going to get caught out by the seismic shove, but there's the Inspire Shield from Faker. He's keeping them alive. Zeus as well is burning. Carrier was also...
Look, it's not okay that he's doing such big mantra Qs and the shields as well. He's got the most damage in the fight and the most shields.
Yep. And just keeping them all alive all the time, but not going to be able to stop this Baron by the looks of things because Carrier is limping around the battlefield. Still, these mantra Qs are so scary. Into the back lane goes Zeus! Finds 3 with the ulti, and then rebinds the soul, but the result is a dead Yone and a dead Twisted Fate. I think Nongshim have done it. Faker is going to get routed, and he tried so incredibly hard this game. His karma was like no other, but I don't think it's going to be enough as Dundun is running after Carrier, who does have Mega Cone opportunity. But I don't think he runs as fast as
once
this.
again,
there it is.
CC immune through the Mega Fire Kick, and Jiwoo, honestly, I feel like...
just flapping around, and there is the ace.
We were hoping for the Jiwoo source today, and he has delivered. I feel like he's been playing these team fights so flawlessly on the small, so patient, avoiding gauge opportunities. He dodged the ult from Zeus. He was the one...
that arm guard was probably the game-winning moment there for Nongshim. Gorgeously played, and once again, they just take a game from T1.
Yep, it's just how they operate. I don't think there's any other way to really spin it. It's like, Nongshim do have their struggles as a team, but when they're up against T1 for that one game, they're just suddenly the best team in the world.
And even Dundun able to have a massive turnaround up against Zeus' Yone. I think the bottom lane, I mean, they weathered the storm. They got to 225 stacks at a brilliant clip there on Jiwoo's side, and then he was just melting everyone. And yeah, Faker was incredible in that game. Just wasn't enough.
Yep. Yep. And I feel like after game one, it would be so easy just to assume, okay, 2-0, business as usual. But I feel like Nongshim are just such an unshakable team.
Yeah, unflappable until they're flapping themselves, I guess.
Like, I revealed, Dundun got absolutely stomped into the dirt in game one.
Yeah.
And then game two, he's just